Hello, I am the Red Shirt Reviewer, and ever since I was a kid, I have been a huge fan of the anime One Piece, or as I like to call it, pirates with superpowers, which may be enough to make anyone curious. The series is full of great action, humor, and a very interesting lore. It has also been going on for over 20 years, and it still hasn't finished yet. And throughout those years, One Piece has been featured in several forms of media. And therefore, I have decided to create this series in order to discuss my opinions on these different forms of One Piece media that have been released over the years. Whether they be movies, OVAs, filler arcs, or any other type of One Piece media that have been released outside of the main storyline. The only thing I will not be covering is video games, because I have something else in mind for those. So, I hope you enjoy this first episode of the One Piece Treasure Log. So, what better way to open this series than to talk about the first official One Piece movie, titled, One Piece the Movie, also known as One Piece the Great Gold Pirate. The film opens with the legend of the said Great Gold Pirate, Wonan, which says that he has hid a great pile of treasure somewhere in the East Blue. And years later, a pirate named El Drago has obtained a map that can lead to Wonan's treasure. We then see our main character, Monkey D. Luffy, and his crew members, Zoro, Nami, and Usopp, collapsed aboard their ship, the Going Merry. They have been going along for weeks without food because Luffy ate all of it. Our heroes then run into a group of pirates robbing them. After a short fight, it is revealed that the pirates are under the leadership of El Draco, who uses his devil fruit ability of fire and his laser to separate our heroes. While Nami stows away on El Drago's ship, Luffy, Zoro, and one of El Drago's cabin boys run into a traveling Odin chef named Gonzo, who also happens to be the kid's grandfather. Turns out that the kid is a big fan of Wonan and wants to find his treasure. However, this led him to becoming kidnapped by El Drago. Meanwhile, as El Drago makes it to the island located on Wonan's map, we see that Usopp, who was still aboard the Going Merry, has stumbled across the island by chance. When Usopp accidentally bumps into the pirate crew, he claims to know exactly where Wonan hid the treasure and promises to lead them to it. And if that isn't enough, Gonzo brings Luffy and Zoro to that exact same island, tied up because they didn't pay for their Odan. And any One Piece fan could probably guess where things go from here. Yeah, the plot of the film is pretty much like any other One Piece story arc. Although we don't get too many One Piece stories revolving around treasure hunting. Kind of ironic if you think about it. But either way, is familiarity truly a bad thing? Some of the major appeals of One Piece are its memorable characters, fun action scenes, and great sense of humor. Since the movie takes place near the beginning of the main storyline, this is more prominent with Nami since she's more distant from the other characters because she is still going through her personal arc in the story. Nami spends most of the first half of the film hiding, while Usopp is leading El Drago's pirate crew to the location of the treasure that he totally knows. Although halfway through, Nami does attempt to save Usopp from the pirates. While both of them do drive the plot forward from the first half of the movie, when the action escalates, they mostly take a back seat to Luffy and Zoro. And I can understand that since we didn't really know much about their fighting style at the time. Luffy and Zoro get more involved during the second half, while in the first half they are used to help establish the supporting characters, Gonzo and the young cabin boy, Tobio, since their relationship is one of the key focuses of the film. Gonzo wants Tobio to run his Odin stand, but Tobio doesn't want to waste his life selling food. He wants to become an adventurer and join Wonan's crew. And while the legend says that Wonan died a long time ago, he has a stern belief that Wonan is still alive, no matter what anyone else says. Of course, it is revealed that Gonzo has his reason for treating Tobio like this, but I'm not going to spoil it. Now let's talk about the villains. First we have El Drago. He has a pretty cool design, which was provided by series author Ichiro Oda. He doesn't have much of a personality to him aside from his love of gold, which appears to be his main driving force. Otherwise, he is pretty much like any other early One Piece villain, overconfident and a big jerk. In fact, most of the actions he does can be compared to how Buggy the Clown acted during the Orange Town archive. Also, he doesn't seem to be very smart, which I admit can lead to some pretty funny moments. His superpower of shooting a beam out of his mouth may sound pretty cool at first, but that is the only thing he does with this power. And this world is filled with characters that have such crazy and over-the-top superpowers, but all this guy can do is just shoot a beam out of his mouth. Now, to be fair, he is pretty skilled in unarmed combat, so he doesn't have to rely on that power. And even with that, this is still early One Piece. Anyway, his first mate Gorashi has a bit more going for him in terms of his character. Ichiro Oda also provided his design, which is very Native American inspired. When we first see him, we see that he's only willing to do something if he gets paid, even smiling when he gets his money. But Zoro is able to plainly see that this is all just an act, that the truth is that Gorashi doesn't want to be a mercenary. He has been telling himself that for so long that he starts to believe that, and because of that, Zoro reveals to him that he can't fight with his full potential. This battle against him and Zoro has a lot of great character insight, and ending with hope that Gorashi will become a greater person than he was. And what would One Piece be without a final showdown between Luffy and our main villain? One Piece fights have always been crazy and fun, and this is no exception. So much awesome stuff happens here. We have Luffy dodging El Drago's attacks and adapting his situation accordingly, and there's so much energy from both participants. But I believe that the crowning achievement is what happens at the very end. El Drago charges his most powerful attack and Luffy inflates himself like a balloon to catch the beam in his stomach and then sends it right back at him. And this most likely does not make any sense, but who cares? This is completely ridiculous and awesome at the same time. In the end, One Piece the movie is pretty average. The story, while solid, is fairly basic, and the villain, while threatening, is kind of average. However, for the first theatrical One Piece film, it's actually not that bad. While the film doesn't have many action scenes, it makes up for it with some good visuals, a great sense of humor, likable characters, and a good mystery. The pacing is also pretty good, despite the film only being an hour long. And the few action scenes we do get are still as entertaining as any other One Piece fight.
And like I said, we don't get many One Piece stories about treasure hunting.
Film may have a lot of stuff we've seen before, but that can still be a voyage worth taking. This has been the Red Shirt Reviewer with an entry from the One Piece Treasure Log. Thanks for watching.